Today we're talking individual coverage health reimbursement arrangements, or better known as an ICHRA. For all you newcomers, my name is Dylanjenkins, and I help educate people on how to be better consumers in this very confusing world of health insurance by getting the same services that you need, just at the lowest out-of-pocket cost possible. ICHRAs have been picking up a lot of traction over the past 2 to 3 years due to the nature of its potential to save groups a lot of money on their annual premium. I've implemented several of these, and the savings have been anywhere from $20,000 to over $1 million in savings. Really just depends on the group size. All the while allowing employers a more flexible way to provide health benefits to their employees. In my experience, this type of benefit offering is viewed almost like a last resort for most groups that are experience rated, meaning the claims and the pharmacy spend that their employees incur have an impact on their renewal, and they're struggling to control increasing premium costs. If you're an employer that's to a point where the premium payment is approaching an unsustainable status, this could be your saving grace. That said, this style of benefit offering may not be a bad option for groups with a healthy demographic. But in this video, we're going to be going through the pros and the cons that I've experienced over the past 3 years consulting groups and converting some of them to an ICHRA. First up, I would say the major potential premium savings that this can yield for unhealthy groups has to be its biggest benefit. I find that if a group is getting hit with constant 20+% renewal increases and/or has a gross premium cost of around $650 a month or higher for a single employee on their group plan, the ICHRA could be a game changer for employers in terms of savings. Next, I would say the cost control and predictability can be huge for all you CFOs out there. Over the past 2 to 3 years, the individual marketplace, at least here in Pennsylvania, has had steady rate increases between 4 and 8% each year, and it's expected to stay the course for 2025. Keep in mind that this may vary based on which states that you're currently operating or have locations in. That said, I think this is great because it allows you as an organization to budget a fixed amount, making health benefit costs more predictable. The way my team and I set up our employers' ICHRAs is by establishing a budget that meets not only affordability, but also compliance standards and any unused funds by the employees when they are done selecting their plan or plans remain with the employer. The next pro would be the customization and flexibility that this opens up. From a personalization standpoint, employers can tailor contributions based on employee classes. From an employee perspective, this allows for a lot more flexibility in carrier options, network options, and plan options available to you based on where they physically reside. For example, I live here in Western Pennsylvania. I would have access to UPMC and Highmark, and I would get to pick which one of these two carriers not only to enroll in, but which plan either offer that is best for me and my family. The next pro would be not losing out on tax advantages, where contributions are tax deductible for employers and tax-free for the employees, such as any amount that they're responsible for that's set up as a medical deduction in their pay stubs would still be coming out pre-tax. Lastly, the ICHRA also meets all ACA compliance mandates, and it is considered a true group plan offering if structured correctly. Cons of an ICHRA would be the complexity in first implementing and the initial setup of the plan. First off, as most of us know, the individual marketplace renews every January 1st. This means if you're an employer with a renewal date of, let's say, September 1st, and you want to put an ICHRA in place at your renewal of 9/1, this means you would A, have a short plan year, year 1, and B, have 2 open enrollment periods that year for your employees. It's also worth mentioning that any money an employee puts towards their deductible from September 1st to December 31st, that first year, their deductible would reset January 1st, so they'd lose that money. I've seen employers offset this by making contributions into employees' HSA accounts should they choose to enroll in a qualified high-deductible health plan, simply because the company cannot sustain what the alternative renewal premium would be, or if they can, wait until January 1st to put the ICHRA in place. Sadly, no matter which way you dice it, this still would mean that the employees would have a shortened plan year, year 1, and their deductibles would reset if your current group medical renewal is not January 1st. The next con I would say would be educating the employees and adapting to the ICHRA. Understanding your geographic footprint in all the states that your employees reside can present a challenge, because if you have folks living and working in Florida, Pennsylvania, California, West Virginia, so on and so forth, all those employees will have access to different individual medical carriers and plan options, as they're required to get individual coverage in their respective state. This new system can be challenging for employees if in the past they have all but one or two, maybe three plan options to choose from. Having that change to upwards of 73 plan options to consider, again I'm using Western Pennsylvania as an example, could be overwhelming to say the least. This is why my team and I prepare employee memo sheets to show plan options that might be as close to what they are previously used to as possible. I also emphasize education. Educating on Health 101 basics, such as what is a deductible, co-insurance, co-pays, out-of-pocket maximums, as well as network differences, such as HMOs, EPOs, and PPOs. We educate on hospital listing differences as it pertains to those network differences, and depending on where you live, what networks you have access to as an employee to choose to enroll in. The last note I'll make on that is the coverage differences as it pertains to traditional group coverage versus individual marketplace coverage. Your current group plans may offer 100% co-insurance after the deductible is met, whereas the individual marketplace rarely, if at all, has plan options with that rich of co-insurance. Most of them are 80-20. Meaning once an employee meets their deductible, they're still responsible for 20% of the cost of specific services, such as blood work or advanced imaging, until their out-of-pocket maximum is met, which can be upwards of $7,000 for an individual or $14,000 for a family. It all just depends on which plan they elect. Prescription drug benefits are also not as rich. I usually advise for groups seriously considering moving to an ICHRA, having their employees write down any drugs that they're currently taking and look those up on the carrier's websites, whether it's the individual marketplace formulary, and compare that to the group formulary so that they can see what the copay differences are for the plans that the employee is considering to enroll in. For example, a Tier 2 drug for a group plan formulary may be a Tier 3 drug on the individual marketplace formulary, or a Tier 1 drug may be a Tier 3 drug. It is no shock that this all can be a lot for the employees to digest. The last con would be the potential administrative costs that come with this style of benefit offering. I've known groups that work with third-party administrators and pay $60 per employee per month to effectively manage their ICHRA. This cost varies from platform to platform, as well as broker to broker. If you're currently working with a broker that's charging you $60 or more per employee per month, don't be afraid to ask for transparency. My firm is one of the most competitively priced, and we saved one group $20,000 alone in administrative costs by simply having the group assign myself and agency as their broker. And moving forward, we did not change anything with their employees' individual plans. One last point that we did not address that can go either way, meaning it could be a pro or a con, would be the ongoing management and monitoring to ensure compliance and reimbursements for premium payments are in fact happening. This is without a doubt the number one question I get asked. How do premium payments work in an ICHRA? And are we individually paying for X amount of plans one by one? The answer is, well, it all depends on how you handle it and who you work with. If you're using a third-party administrator, I can only speak to the way my team and I do this for our employers, and that is by doing one large premium payment pool from the employer's bank account, so you're not seeing 50 plus pings to their account every month, and setting up virtual debit cards for their employees. The employer and the group have visibility the entire time to see where those dollars are being distributed into each employee's virtual debit card for the carrier and the plan that they elected to ping each month for the payment. The employer has the ability to pull reports and confirm premium amounts at any time, but for most of you folks out there with HR parties of one, it can be a cumbersome task if you're reconciling it every month. So all of that said, ICHRA plans offer significant advantages in terms of cost control, flexibility, and potential annual premium savings. However, they also present challenges, particularly in terms of initial setup, employee education, and who you choose to partner with for administering your ICHRA. You as an organization must weigh these things out to see if the ICHRA is the right fit for you. I hope you found this informational, and if you would like to connect with me to see if this might be worthwhile for your organization to consider, please reach out to my email. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next Benefits Pulse. Take care.